This is it, people. This is what you've been waiting for. This is Everyday Celebrity Podcast. The podcast for everyday people with everyday problems, trying to find everyday solutions to accomplish everyday goals. Let's start the show. You. Welcome to another episode of Everyday Celebrity Podcast, number one podcast in Oakland, number one podcast in the Bay Area. Tonight we have our first. We've had creators on the show before, but tonight we have our first supermodel, I believe. She's up and coming on the rise. Sydney Forneret. Mm-hmm. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
How was your night tonight?
It's been good. I've been with my family all day. I was just saying my cousin just moved back to America from Turkey, and she's in the Bay Area for a couple days, and we've just been hanging out. I haven't seen her in like 5 years in person, so it's been really nice catching up and just, having fun with your cousins, and it's always a good time with her. She's very exciting. She's a belly dancer and a yoga instructor, so very lively energy, and she is just a lot of fun. So we've been hanging out all day.
Do you have a big family?
I have a huge family, very big. On both sides of my family, there's a lot of people. So I call it my big, crazy Creole family. There's a lot of us. We're all really close. We all like to hang out together. We eat, we drink, and laissez-les bon temps rouler. Just let the good times roll.
That's what that means?
Yes. Yes, it does. We live by that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So when you say big family, how big is it? You got like a shit ton of siblings?
I have 4 sisters, all girls. My dad is an identical twin, and he has 2 boys, and then I have 4 sisters, so we all are already really close. And then my dad's siblings, there's more kids, and my mom's siblings, there's more kids, and so even at like Christmases and Thanksgivings, it's always at least 20 people, and that's immediate family. So we definitely are a big bunch, very loving. We love to be around each other. We love to have fun together. And it's actually such a blessing because a lot of people, don't have family that they can actually hang out with and enjoy being around them. So having that is just really great. Yeah. Oh, I have a low voice. Sorry, guys. I have to fix the microphone.
All right. So you have, it's all girls. Mm-hmm. So how was that like growing up? They'd steal each other's clothes. I'd come home from school and my sister has gone through my whole closet, and it's like, why are you mad? I'm like, because you just invaded my privacy. I know, but it's having all girls has definitely taught me how to very much so keep sisterhood in the forefront of my friendships. Even just interacting with people, men or women, I have a very empathic way of dealing with people where I'm just very sensitive to just people's lives, because having girls around, we're always very very honest with each other. We're very feminine but sensitive, but still look out for each other in the most just upfront ways. And just growing up in Oakland, though, we had to be soft and hard at the same time and know when to bring those parts out of you and when to not bring those parts out of you. So I know my dad definitely instilled a lot of good qualities in us, where we've definitely been looking out for each other, but still being like, don't fuck with me. But, And I love having my sisters. We're all really good friends. We share clothes. We share everything. So, they're like built-in friends. So when you were growing up, both of your parents were together still?
No, actually, my parents have been separated since I was about 2. But they've always made sure that we
don't necessarily feel a divide. They've always worked together, even if they didn't want to, for our betterment. And I do appreciate that, because I know, like, you know, it could have been the other way around, where they just didn't do anything together or didn't even try. And the fact that they did, I'm just lucky. So I do appreciate that. You have to put a lot of things aside. And I can understand that now. Being a single mother, I get I can kind of see it in a different way now, and like kind of like what they were doing for us and how much that probably was not super enjoyable, but they still thugged it out for the betterment of us. Mm-hmm.
Are you the only sibling with a child?
No. So my oldest sister has 3 kids, a boy and 2 girls. And just, you know, seeing her starting out with motherhood was eye-opening. And I was like realizing how much I thought I was going to be like the cool aunt with no kids and just like hanging out with them. But like just kind of seeing how she changed as a person, and so much in a positive way, it made me less intimidated to be a parent, and like, this is possible. Like, I'm seeing it firsthand, and I love these kids so much, like my own. And I'm like, you know, this may not be that bad and not scary, because uncharted territory is always like intimidating. But being an aunt and then having a child, it made this transition a little bit more realistic and a little bit easier.
So you said you're a single parent. I'm assuming that wasn't planned.
No, it wasn't. Definitely not.
So how does it, how do you feel about, like, what are some of the hard things that you go through being a single parent?
Co-parenting, well, at first it was definitely hard to navigate because it wasn't planned, and just dealing with my own emotions from it, but then still trying to be a present parent and make sure that we do what's best for our child. It brought up a lot of emotions that I wasn't really completely ready for, but you know, it's life. You just have to just thug it out. But co-parenting now is after, like, you know, he's going to be 6 in 2 days. So it's been a while, and it's been a journey. Now I think it's a lot easier because we've kind of set schedules and like ways to deal with each other, and just putting the betterment of our child in the forefront, and that being the most important thing that we even talk about is just what we can do best. And we're both very willing to do what's best for our child for now and in the future. So it's been, like I said, it's definitely been a journey, but a learning experience, and it just kind of gets better as the years go on. And
why did you guys break up?
It's just after we were together for about 5 or 6 years, and then having a child, things change, and you're not really paying attention to your relationship as much as you're worrying about your child. And it just didn't pan out the way that we wanted to. We weren't really getting along after a minute, after seeing like real life things and not being able to just focus on ourselves, but another, you know, person as well. And so I just think that we just kind of maybe grew apart in a way, but he's still a very good friend of mine. I still have a lot of love for him, and I'm better off by myself because it was just a little bit of a stressful environment, and I'd rather raise my child being a happy mom and a present mother instead of being upset or just stressed out. Like, it's better for me this way. And it was hard at first, but you know, after you go through it for a couple years, it gets easier and easier.
So a lot of relationships fall apart after they have a child.
Yeah.
Do you think having the child is the reason most relationships fail? Because everything was all good before the child. Then when the child comes, everyone's like, oh, now we're fighting. We're not getting along and shit like that. So is the child the reason all of these women are out here as single mothers?
I think that we just we get more realistic, we get more serious, and we get more like,
focused on our child and being more more mature and really just trying to get things done, as opposed to, I think that men, no offense, don't mature as quickly as women. And when you have a child, you just kind of snap into the mode, like, okay, I gotta get this, and this done. And then your partner's like, well, I want to go out and have fun. I'm like, but that's not what we need to be prioritizing right now. And then kind of like getting them to be on the same page as you can be problematic, because they'll resist it a little bit, and that causes resentment. That causes issues in your relationship, and you're still trying to take care of a child. So it just, other problems arise, and because the mom's like just so into the mode of being a mother and not so much in the mode of being a partner first, just the mother, like it's, I think that
so you start to neglect the man.
Not even so much neglect, because it's just different. You know, the attention has to be split, and they're used to all your attention. And then, because even before we had our child, when I was pregnant, he was scared. He's like, you're going to like just not pay attention to me anymore. Like, it's going to be all about the baby. I'm like, you don't know that. I don't know that. We're not even there yet. Let's just keep it rocking, figure it out. But it's different from, I'm sure like it was different from what he was used to, of my energy and my focus, because, you know, I was breastfeeding for a year. I'm not able to like be out and do all these events and things we used to do. And it just, you know, I had to split my time more, and I don't think that it was received well. But I was still prioritizing my child and still prioritizing my family unit too. But I think also the pressure of being a new father can be a little kind of like just sobering and a little bit of a slap in the face, because you can't do life how you used to. You can't just be out all night, and then like I'd be like, you know, I need some help at home. He wants to be out with his friends, and I understand that, but
I don't think that's pressure. Like, that ain't shit compared to what the mother has to do.
I agree, and I see it differently, but I can't. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So.
Do you make excuses for him?
No, I do not. Definitely not. Okay. But you know,
why do you think when two people break up, right, and they have a child, why do you think the woman always gets custody of the child?
I also think it does have a lot to do with the American system. I don't think all the time these fathers are bad. I do think that there is a bias, because I don't know. I do think sometimes dad gets the short end of the stick in this country. You know, the paternity leave situation, the like trying to like have to fit in the role of being the provider instead of the nurturer. What if, you know, they want to be more of a nurturer? Like I think that, you know, it could be that some dads don't know what to do and they're a little bit lost in their new role, but it also has to do a lot with the pressures of our society with gender roles and like what is expected of a father and a mother, and not knowing how to really place yourself. So, I mean, I'm not going to say that, like, I'm not excusing every man or every woman for what they do and how they parent, but I do think that there's a lot of pressure from our society to be a certain way. And if you don't fit that role, there could be like repercussions. And a lot of women are also bitter about their relationship not working and wanting a situation so bad and it didn't turn out that way, so they get vengeful and they want to like take their child's father to court and do all this stuff. And it's really not about the kid, it's more so about them. But I've always been very emotionally intelligent, where I'm like, okay, it's not about me, it's about our child, and we're gonna like just keep that prioritized, because our shit is second tier to this child who didn't ask to be here. Mm-hmm. So we've always agreed that we put him first and take our problems out of it to make sure that he's okay and has a healthy life and a healthy future.
When do you think is a good time to introduce a man that you're dating to your child?
I'd say at least 6 months to a year. People don't really show their true colors. Like there's a honeymoon phase, and I think it's important to make sure that you're comfortable with that person and that they're comfortable with the fact that you have a child and it's not theirs. Excuse me. But I do think that taking your time is always a good idea. I don't think you should ever rush into introducing your child to a partner because you don't know where it's going to go. You know, you don't really know if that person's going to be permanent or, you know, reasons and seasons, people in your life. And I just think that it's always a safer move to just be patient and until you're comfortable. Like if you're comfortable within like 2 weeks or to 2 years, like whatever you're comfortable with and whatever makes sense for you and your child and like your unit, then it's all relative. But I do think that like waiting is never a bad idea. There's no rush, you know.
What do you feel about let's say you're dating a man, right? What do you feel about your new boyfriend disciplining your son? And when I say discipline, I mean like giving him a spanking. If he's like going crazy.
Good question. I don't know if I'd like that. It would definitely have to be like a very long relationship and they'd have to have like some rapport before I'm okay with that. But I feel like that definitely needs to be on me. Like, you know, you can say what you want, give me your feedback and I can relay it. But I have not been put in that situation before. So I really don't know how I would respond to it. I don't think I'd be okay with it. I really don't. Because I would probably be upset, honestly.
Okay. All right, so you grew up in Oakland or New Orleans?
I grew up in Oakland. I visited New Orleans a lot as a child. I lived there after high school. I went to Xavier University for biology pre-med. And after school, I moved to Los Angeles. But I always have gone back to New Orleans at least once or twice a year, usually twice a year. I still have a lot of family out there. My mom's family is from New Orleans and my dad's family is from Lake Charles.
Wait. You're moving too fast.
So I have both sides of my family are from Louisiana.
So why, when you finished high school, what year did you finish high school?
2008.
And was Xavier like the main college you wanted to go to?
I only applied to HBCUs. I felt like it was important for me to be in an all-Black institution. I really wanted to. I've had like my grandparents had gone to Black schools as well. And I do think that I just wanted to be around my people and just be comfortable and not have to like worry about trying to fit into different groups or like assimilate. I just wanted to just be comfortable and not have to like code switch or whatever. I just wanted to be understood. I'm already going to a new experience, a new chapter in my life. I didn't want to have to like, I don't know, like worry about like not fitting in or like being like the, you know, like the sticking out like a sore thumb, you know.
Xavier is not an HBCU, is it?
It is an HBCU, actually.
Xavier University?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a private Catholic HBCU. So they were really strict. We had curfews. We had a very strict, like, they had a lot of rules. So I never, like, partied at my school because we didn't really have that.
Yeah, I know, like, BYU is kind of like the college, Brigham Young University.
Where is that?
I have no idea. But it's like some Mormon Catholics college.
Mormon.
I don't know if it's Mormon, but it's like it's a religious school.
Okay.
And the athletes, it's a big school. It's like a big D1 school. They're like known for sports and shit, but they're a real religious school, and the athletes are not allowed to like have sex with anyone and shit like that. So that's how strict they are.
Xavier wasn't that strict, but it was pretty strict. They ran a tight ship.
So were you did you know about that before you went there?
I did, because my mom's sister, my aunt, went to Xavier as well. So I knew quite a bit about it. She graduated when I was very young, but you know, she gave me some pointers and, you know, let me know what I was getting into a little bit. You really don't know until you get there and start, you know, getting into things. But
when you were growing up, were you like sheltered and shit?
Sheltered?
Like, were you allowed to date, or were you getting in trouble and all that stuff?
Sheltered. I was kind of a party kid. I went to Skyline here in Oakland. I was out like every weekend. I was at house parties. Like I was at like city nights in San Francisco, dancing in cages. I was kind of a wild child, like sneaking out and stuff.
Were you one of those like teenage girls who were like fucking with grown ass men?
No, never that. Always people my age. But my rule for myself was I never dated people I went to school with. So I had like friends from other schools in the Bay Area, like in San Francisco and like Berkeley. Even like dating anybody from Oakland, I tried to definitely avoid that because I'm super private. And I also like, I don't want to see you if I don't want to like, I don't want to have to see you. I don't want to go to school and you're there. I like, don't want that to be like super like forced. If I want to see you, we can plan it, but I don't want to have to go to school and like see you in the hallways and stuff. And like, what if things go bad? People are in your business. I was like, my rule for myself was like, never date anybody you go to school with. So
did you change in any way when you transitioned from high school to college?
Yes, I definitely matured more. I revved up. I definitely partied more in college than even I did in high school. Like, I mean, I was in New Orleans, so it was a lot of fun, a lot of parties, because there's like 3 or 4 colleges in New Orleans just right there. So there was always something to do. And I definitely took advantage of that for sure. So I had a lot of fun.
Did any of your partying put you in bad situations?
Not really. And I was really
did you
blessed.
Like black out and wake up next to someone like, oh, the fuck did I get it?
No, I was very blessed to meet really great people that I'm still friends with. And the fact that I have my family there. I have a cousin that I'm like the closest with. She's about 5 years older than me. And if I needed anything, like I could call her at like 3 a.m. She wouldn't like tell my parents. She'd be like, okay, let's just figure it out. Like, give me rides. I do laundry at their house. We'd go for, Sunday dinners and things like that. So I had a good situation, but I was still pretty responsible with myself. I didn't ever get blacked out because also I had a history of kind of like being a little bit more wild as a teenager. So I knew what could happen. And being in another city without my parents, I definitely tried to stay a little bit in check, still having fun and all of that. But I definitely made sure that I was okay.
What are some of the positives for going to a HBCU? And what are some negatives?
I think, starting with positives, I think it's good to be around people that you don't have to edit who you are. You can be who you are and not have to worry about explaining certain things or, I don't know, decoding mannerisms or whatever. I think it's just nice to be around people that you're used to and not feeling like an oddball. I think it does break down a lot of filters hoops you would have to jump through in a different situation. They're not there. So I think that's really good. And just being around the Greek culture, but I never pledged. I was very much so bombarded by the AKAs all the time to pledge, but I never did it.
Why didn't you?
I just felt like I didn't want to be a carbon copy of these people. And I come from a family that there's a lot of Kappas and Deltas and AKAs in my family. And I just my mom did the cotillion, all my aunts, my cousins. I was the first one that my sister and I were no, we're not doing it. We don't really want to keep that elitist kind of history going. We just want to be ourselves and not feel we need to be a certain
mold of what you want us to be. But it was cool to be around like stepping and like seeing like how they do it. Other, like you see like movies and people rushing like in predominantly white colleges, but like in a HBCU, it's more lively, it's more fun. It's exciting. Even though I wasn't a part of it, I was still a part of it. So it's just exciting to see that and be around it.
So the positives was just to be around people like you.
Yeah, and just
that was it.
Like, well, also just knowing that you're.
What about the schooling? Like
the schooling, it's. I feel like because we have to prove so much in being Black in America, like you have to be like 10 times better at something or like 10 times stronger at it. And Xavier didn't play. They had a very strict like academics, and they expected you to be, you know, top tier, because that's what we had to prove to this country, that like we are like we're, you know, can excel in academics. We can excel in all these different fields and not skimping, and also just being proud of the fact that we are Black people in a space of education. And like we have something, unfortunately, it feels like we all have something to prove, but they made sure that we were definitely getting a top tier education, and they didn't skimp on any of that. So I do appreciate that. I feel like the negatives might be, well, I went to a smaller school and we didn't have as much of a social kind of life. They were just so focused on the academics and being like the best in that they kind of didn't really like put much on like the social life for our school, specifically for Xavier. I can't really speak on other schools, but
Hampton University, they be partying.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like, I don't know if there's many negatives that I personally want my child to go to HBCU, so I can't really think of too many negatives. I think it's a good experience for young Black kids in America to be at HBCU and have a higher learning in a space where you feel comfortable and you see people that look like you and have the similar backgrounds and family structures that you do. So it doesn't seem like you need to prove anything. You can just be yourself.
So what did you major in?
Biology.
And what made you get into that?
I have a big medical family. I feel like it was kind of pushed on me a little bit. I had already been around a lot of people in their studies growing up, especially my aunt, my mom's youngest sister. She was in medical school for a lot of my childhood. My grandfather was a doctor. My great-grandfather was a doctor. So it felt like it was kind of expected of me. I enjoyed it, but I felt like I was more of an artist, and the kind of like right brain stuff was not as natural for me. Like I was good at it, but it felt I had to like really give myself a lot of pep talks and stuff to like even just like stay focused. It just wasn't keeping my attention as much as I wanted it to. But I do enjoy biology, and I do enjoy like learning about cells and chemistry and how things come to life. I do have a lot of, obviously a lot of information about that and a lot of background, but I just couldn't see myself doing that for the rest of my life. It seemed very clinical to me and not so creative, and I couldn't do, it just seemed, just like one lane. And I've always felt like I'm like 50 different lanes and like windy streets and like hikes and all this stuff. And it's just like, you're just in this one lane. And I couldn't wrap my mind around it. I'm like, this is just not, as you learn yourself, as you get older, then you kind of see like who you are as a person and like what you want to do and where you want to spend your time. And I just wouldn't want to spend 24 to 72 hours in a hospital.
Do you feel like you wasted your time instead of like studying art?
I don't feel like I wasted my time. I feel like I wish that like our country was a little, or just our society, like put more emphasis on getting to know who you are as a young person instead of just like, okay, you're out of high school, pick a major, go to school, be there for 4 years, pay your loans off, do this career. And what time is left to actually know yourself and to like get to know who you are growing into?
That's why you should go to city college first.
Not a bad idea. It's not, get your general education and as you're learning who you are. And, you know, that I think is a great idea as opposed to just like jumping in head first to something that you have no idea about. It's a little intimidating, but I do, you know, I think that we should be getting to know who we are more before we pick such a permanent thing for our lives. Because we change, you know, your 20s, you do so much from like 18 to 30. You're like a million different people. And I feel like when you turn 30, you're kind of applying all the lessons you've learned, all the things you've been through. It all starts making sense and starts clicking and like falling into place. But
when did you realize, okay, now I know myself?
Honestly, maybe like
this is the woman that I am. When did you realize that? Did you realize in college or after you graduated?
After. Definitely after. Like
so while you were in college, you were still trying to find yourself.
Yeah, of course. You know, testing waters, putting myself in different situations and seeing how I'd be and how I'd react or how I'd resolve it. It was all like a big classroom for me. Life was a big classroom. And
like, give me some examples of what ways you were confused about.
I don't know. Like
I know we already talked about like career wise, because you were studying this, but you wasn't really into it. But what are like some other reasons?
I knew I didn't want to be in anything that was just like structured. I didn't like structure. I noticed I learned that I didn't like structure and I didn't like authority. So I needed to make sure
a rebel.
A little bit. And I'd realized that it really hadn't changed since I was a child. I needed to be more true to my inner child, really, instead of like thinking that I needed to do this or this or this. I'm like, what actually moves you? What drives you? And just being honest with myself. I learned to trust myself a lot more and use my discernment for like, if I'm feeling like it's right, then it's right. If I'm feeling like it's wrong, then it's not for me. But as opposed to forcing myself to be in certain situations or environments that, well, actually, I'll say I learned how to stop appeasing my family and to make myself happy. You know, and getting over that, like people being disappointed with you and wanting you to do a certain thing or be a certain way. After I got over that, I felt a lot more empowered.
Yeah.
I'd say. Yeah, just not giving a fuck as much. Just if you don't give fucks, like you can't be controlled.
All right. So when you finished college, what year did you finish college?
2012.
And what was your next move after that?
I moved to LA. And
for what reason?
I wanted to be back in California, but I didn't want to be in the Bay Area where I was close to my parents. I had a taste of being on my own and having independence. And I was like, if I move back to Oakland after school, I don't want to fall back into being dependent on my family. I just want to like just keep it going. Like, I don't want to have to stop and then reassess and then like, I don't know. I just wanted to keep it going, keep the ball rolling. So I moved to LA and I got into, I've always been doing photography. I started when I was 13 with film cameras, developing and all of it in dark rooms. And so I started with just film. And then I started doing digital in New Orleans just for fun. And then when I moved to LA, I did a little bit more. I worked at I met I met a girl. She was a model, but she had a showroom, and we met at some like party, and we like hit it off. And she was like, I want you to come work for me. I was like, really? Like, that sounds awesome. I'd never been like in fashion and stuff. So I was like, she just saw something in me that I hadn't even recognized in myself yet. So I started doing sales repping for her in the showroom. We worked with actually
Michael Costello a lot. He was across the hall from us, so we were always doing things together. I did trade shows. I did all the photography for the showroom as well. I did all the styling, and then sometimes even the makeup. I was booking models on my own, so I had a lot of creative control. I leveled up to being the manager of the showroom, so I had interns under me, so I was delegating tasks. I was doing PR. I was doing a lot of things. And
so when you graduated, you didn't try to get a job in your
I did
your
not.
major.
No.
Okay.
No.
So you already knew, like,
Yeah.
I'm not even going to
I'm
try
not.
to
It's just yeah. I mean, it's something to fall back on, but it's not. It's just I was like, I want to try things like while I'm young, while I'm like I don't have anything to worry about but myself. I just want to like go for things that move me, and I really found myself in. I was also working at a boutique in New Orleans, and I started doing a lot of their visuals for all of the we had 2 boutiques in the French Quarter, and I did a lot of the visuals for like both stores and the window displays and things like that. And I was booking personal styling sessions and pulling racks of outfits from jewelry to shoes to, everything. And it was $250, just a set price. And whatever they bought after that was also, I got the commission for that too. So I was like, okay, I'm good at this. I was also doing modeling for the actual boutique. So when we'd get new products, they'd actually shoot me in the new products. I'm like, okay, so I can do that too. That's cool. So when I got to LA, I kind of put all that stuff into practice, and I really excelled in it. And I actually was, in LA Weekly for my styling and my photography for a music group out there. And I've styled for a few things. A really cool one that I did was I interviewed Issa Rae. Well, I styled for the interview for Issa Rae. And I set designed for it too. So
you styled Issa Rae?
I styled the people that were interviewing her. And I set designed the space that they were interviewing her in. Okay. So I got to go to.
Did you get to go to the interview?
Yeah, I was there.
Okay. So you met Issa Rae?
Yeah, her brother is the reason why I have a child right now, actually. So her brother they're Senegalese, and so they speak French. I met him at a party when I first moved to LA, and we were just talking back and forth in French, and we got really cool. I got really cool with his other friends, and they invited us to another party, me and my cousin, actually. And that's where I met my son's father. We hit it off that night, and, we were just homies at first.
I was about to say, your baby daddy's Issa Rae's relative or some shit?
No, that's what friends, I thought you were doing. They're friends. He was in a group called Fly Guys, and she actually, her brother and another friend of theirs were in a group of trio. They were called Fly Guys in LA. And their studio was actually at Issa Rae's dad's doctor's office in Inglewood. So we were there a lot. I used to shoot them for all of their events and stuff, their album covers. I did art for them. I made stencils for them, all kinds of stuff. So he introduced me to my son's father, her little brother.
Do you like LA more than Oakland?
No, I don't. I do not. I just feel like I had a good time there, but I realized how much they were just
fake,
very surface, very fake, very facade. I remember being at the Roxbury for the first time I'd ever been there. They're not even open anymore. And they pulled my friend and I out of line and just let us right in. And I had been in line with these 2 girls that were so cool. They never got in. And they were like, why didn't we get in? They were like, you guys didn't look the part. I was like, that's so shitty. But I realized they just were wearing jeans. They weren't overweight. They just weren't. They weren't I feel like what they were looking for, what they wanted the club to look like.
Were you shocked by that?
I was a little shocked. I was like, that's kind of fucked up and very superficial. You should have
known that. That's LA. That's how Miami is too.
You don't want to think that the world's like that, but after you get treated a certain way for looking a certain way and somebody gets treated differently, it's
eye-opening. I was like, oh, wow, this is how it is here. Like, if you're popular, everything's good. If you're not, you don't get any kind of attention.
Well, you're trying to make a name for yourself in that realm.
At that time, I didn't know really what I was doing. I was just kind of like coasting, like whatever came for me.
But what I'm saying, you do fashion, you do styling, and all that shit. So you're in a field where everything is judged on your looks.
Absolutely.
That's superficial stuff.
Yeah.
So if you despise that, then why be in that? I don't so
much despise it as I can decode it and understand. It's not, there's a layer of it that I am not in love with, but I understand what it is. And I can kind of move in it if I don't know. I just feel like, yes, there is superficialness, but I feel like doing what I'm doing here in like the Bay Area, it's more authentic. I don't have to be so rigorous and like judgy. Like, and also times are changing. Like models are not just 00 anymore. Like if you look at Fenty and her and Rihanna's advertisement, there's all sizes and colors and all kinds of people. And I love how we're moving into that. I feel like it's a lot more accepting. People can kind of like branch out more and do what like if they want to be in fashion and they're like a 2X, they can. If they're in a wheelchair, you can still be a model. Like, and I love that people are feeling more just accepted for who they are, as opposed to like when I was starting out, like, you know, being told that I can't book this model because her hair's too kinky. And I thought, I'm like, she's beautiful to me. Like, I want to book her. They're like, she's not going to sell. Mm. And just having to hear that, like, it was hard to swallow, but I still had to like have, you know, just keep my personal feelings about it kind of on the back burner and do what they felt was right. And it wasn't always something I agreed with, but it was a business.
Do you think your career will take off more? I mean, basically what you're trying to do you think you can establish yourself faster in the Bay Area or faster if you were living in LA?
I definitely feel like if I was living in LA still, there'd be more of a momentum. Mm-hmm. But for me, I have to balance having a child and having a more stable life for him. Because if I was living in LA, I would be very busy. I really do prioritize being a mother in this time of my life, like since I've had my child first. And I think it's important to be present and to have work and all that stuff be after being a mom. Like, I'm a mom first. Mm-hmm. And, you know, if I didn't have a child, I would have already moved back to LA and like done this stuff and, you know, just probably been in a different realm. But I do feel it's important, yes, to be a present mother and to be there first for your child. And then whatever you want to do after that is after that. So,
I see a ring. Are you married?
No, actually, I bought this ring for myself for my birthday, and I am engaged to myself. Oh. It's actually a lab created diamond. So I'm very like, I'm very big on energy. I don't want any blood diamonds. I don't want anything that like has to be excavated out of the earth in a violent way and it hurts other people. I'm not in support of that. Even like when I do, if and when I do ever get married, I would like to have some kind of like stone or something that I actually pull from the earth myself and then get made into a ring. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like starting a marriage with a blood diamond is kind of bad juju, in my opinion. I don't want that. So,
does your family practice voodoo?
I get that question a lot. So voodoo is very much so demonized in this culture. Yes.
I mean, voodoo is a religion in Africa.
It's a religion, exactly.
And a lot of people don't understand it. So I get that question more than you think. And yes, we do. It is part of our lifestyle, where we do certain rituals or have more knowledge of like the orishas and stuff. And I have altars, my whole family, we all have like altars in our homes for our ancestors and like certain orishas that like we feel more, close with, or all of them. But it's something that I never liked to talk about when I was younger, because I felt like people were going to think I was some kind of like weirdo, like, or just some kind of like witch. I'm like, no, it's just our culture. And it's like, it's a way of life as well. But it never seemed abnormal to me until I got like older and people were asking me, oh, you're Creole. Do you do voodoo? Or are you like some like black magic? And like, you sound so ignorant. And I couldn't even think of ways to say that when I was younger. I just was like, I don't want to talk about it. Like I didn't really know how to even explain it to them until I got like older and had like the correct verbiage, and just, it's a triggering question because people just have they like think such bad of it. And it's like, it's just, you don't understand. And it's hard to explain. Also, I just don't feel like I need to educate people on something that I just don't care. Like, I don't care. Like, you can think what you want. That's fine.
Did you experience a lot of colorism growing up?
Not so much.
Like people not thinking you're black?
Well, I always get you're black and white. I got a lot of people that I was black and Asian a lot. They still do. And I'm not.
Does that get you mad? No,
it doesn't get me mad. I have to be real and realize I look pretty racially androgynous, and it's a lack of not intelligence, it's a lack of culture and understanding. And also just people are just not as cultured and not as understanding as of other cultures as you'd hope that they are. I actually did used to take it personally, and I would get a little pissed off. Now I'm a little more chill about it. It's like, okay, you just probably have no fucking idea like what you're talking about. And you're going off of like what's known instead of like what you know, and you're not really researching anything on your own. But my name is a telltale giveaway to my background. So if you knew me and my family, then you'd know. But if you just didn't know me, like I get all kinds of things. People think I'm Brazilian or Alaskan, or I've gotten everything Dominican, like, I don't know, like so many things. But maybe like 3 people in my life have guessed my ethnicity correctly, like within my whole life. So it's okay. I'm used to it.
So what do you do now?
Now, I do still do community events. I actually hold smaller. I did hold a really big event called Gold Mine Gallery before I had my child. And that was running for every month for I did about 6 or 7 of those. And then I just got like too pregnant. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. It's just a lot of energy. But there was musicians, visual artists, vendors, food, drinks, all kinds of stuff. So that was really fun. And did that with my child's father, because we both have art background, him in music, me in the visuals. And that was really cool. So now I've done a few art shows at Cal where I had my paintings and my photography in it. I host healing circles for women. I did an art show when Soul Space was open. I curated an art show with another art collective. I started an art collective with my friend Taylor called Pussy Posse. We did that for a while. We had our own little events for that too. I do photography. So I've shot a few Raphael Sadiq's concerts. I've shot Lauryn Hill before. I've shot like certain little like activist events here in Oakland. Just a lot of like things in the community too, just community events. But yeah, I'm working on a short film right now where I'm modeling for. I'm not going to speak too much on it because it's not my project. So I'm just working in the project. So it's not my vision. But
Yeah. Right now for work, I'm a maternity photographer at Kaiser, and I shoot newborn babies all day. And it's really cute. So like two of my favorite things, motherhood and photos, they're just all in one, and I love it. And it's just very moving.
So you take pictures of babies when after they're born, or while they're coming out?
No, after they're born. So at least a day after, when the mom's about to go home, we go to the rooms. It's me and one other girl at Highland Hospital. I used to work at Kaiser. Then Kaiser kind of shut down after COVID. So now I'm at Highland, and we do like 10 to 12 poses, and it's all in the hospital room, on the hospital bed, very sanitized, very safe. And
what are these pictures for?
It's for the family. It's for the mom, the family, and just having like those snapshots. Like, you're never really going to get that moment again when your baby's first
the
born.
hospital has a full-time photographer to take pictures of you when you're in your bed, all hair all fucked up with the baby on it.
I mean, you get ready. They have time to fix themselves up, but if you want it, it's there, and they can order prints, and they can get them like within an hour, the digitals, and then we'll send like a canvas one. We have like different products like keychains, calendars, things like that will get mailed to you. And usually people who have family like out of state or out of the country, they like to do that so they can kind of send it off to their family for the birthing announcements.
Have you ever seen an ugly baby? Took a picture and like, damn, this baby is ugly as hell.
I don't want to call any baby ugly because they look so different. Like after even like a week, I've seen some pretty interesting looking babies. I'm like,
have you ever seen any deformed?
No,
babies?
I haven't seen any deformed babies yet. I probably will like sometime, but I haven't seen any deformed babies. I've seen this one. Oh my God, this little girl was so beautiful. She was Ethiopian baby. She was so cute. And I took her pictures, and I started tearing up, and the mom saw them and she started crying. And we had this little crying session. I was like, oh my God, this is so cute. She was like, oh my God. She's first time mom. And like, it just took me back to like giving birth to my son and like seeing him for the first time. And like just all those emotions always flood back, but it's always so warm and fuzzy. It's really cute. I love it.
Would you ever be a surrogate?
No, I'm a little too selfish for that. I'm not gonna lie.
You want more kids?
I don't technically want more kids. If I had like one more and like a stable relationship, I'd be okay with that. But at this point, I think I'm pretty good with one. I'm like, this is pretty lit. I can still have my life and still take care of my child, and we're both happy, healthy, and successful. If I had another one, I feel like it would just be giving a lot. I'd be giving a lot more, and I don't know if I'm comfortable with that yet, but who knows? I'm not opposed to it, but I'm also like not planning for that.
So there was a story in the news about a lady who got pregnant from a sperm donor, right? Mm-hmm. And she sued. Well, she is currently suing the guy for like, I think like $9 million or something like that, some outrageous number, because the guy lied on, I guess, on his like application or whatever. He lied about where he went to college and like a whole bunch of like little things that made her want to pick his sperm, because he made himself
false pretenses.
Yeah, he made himself sound elite when he wasn't. And then not only is she suing him, she gave the baby up after it was born.
Wow.
How do you feel about that?
Ooh, I don't like that.
Do you think she has?
I think she's justified in being upset for being lied to, but I don't feel like she should have given her child up, because why are you really having a child if you really are trying to make like a curated version of a person? I mean, yeah, you got lied to, but your child's here now. You got to roll with the punches. I would never give my child away. I don't care like what the circumstances is. Like I don't have the heart for that. That's kind of fucked up in my opinion. I don't respect that. I don't like that.
Yeah, it was crazy when I read it. I was like, damn. That's serious.
Shitty. Oh, poor kid. And then the issues, that abandonment issues that kid's probably going to go through, because it's going to have to know that it was put up for adoption, and it's going to inquire about why and how it even came to earth. Like, that's so messed up. I don't like that. No, I would never. Yeah, no.
So you say you do healing groups for women, right? What goes on in this? Like, how did that start?
So we start with, like, saging the space.
I'm saying, why did it start? Were you like going through some shit?
Yes. After splitting from my child's father and moving into single motherhood and being sometimes resentful of the fact that I'm like, I feel like I'm a stereotype and like a single Black mother in America. Like, I had a lot of feelings about it, and I didn't ever want that for myself. So I didn't want to handle my problems negatively by going out partying or like doing deprivating things. I wanted to have empowering things around me, and going back to having all sisters, sisterhood's always been very important to me. So not only did I have family support, but I also needed support in my community, because you can talk to your family about so many things, but you still need like your own like tribe. So I went to a healing circle when I was a newly like single woman. I had a friend invite me to one, and I got so much from it. And I felt so much like heard and not alone in my experience as being a new single mother. So I started holding space for people, and it just kind of took off. So I would do clothes swaps, that I would do like also like prayers, and like we'd have like time to like drink tea and like talk and like just let go in a safe space. And I feel like it's really important to have space to talk about what you're going through with like-minded people, or people who are going through the same thing, and finding strength in that, and finding support and camaraderie and community, and not feeling so alone. It helped me a lot. So I really wanted to give back to other people and hold space for them when I felt ready to be able to hold space for them.
Do you think doing stuff like that, I'm not saying what you did is bad, but do you think doing stuff like that where it's just women and wanting to talk to women who are also single mothers, do you think in the long run that you would grow to, or you can grow to despise men?
No. We weren't really talking about men. We were talking about ourselves, and not so much the negatives as much as like what we wanted to do, what we were aspiring to do, what we wanted to heal from, and how we wanted to still make ourselves susceptible and be able to receive love and be a healthy, fertile ground for love and for like more community and more art and more things like that. We weren't sitting there bashing men. We rarely even talked about men. We would talk about how we felt about our specific situations. But I also don't think it's right to group all men together. I have like a very good relationship with my father. I would hate if anyone like just wanted to like bash men, because I'm like, there are good men out there. Like, people aren't all bad. There may have been an experience where you had an experience, or I've had an experience with a shitty person, but that's not everybody. And we can't like compartmentalize men in just one box, or just anybody. So I was never about bashing people. I was never about negativity. I'm about honesty and truth. If you're dealing with something, we'll talk about that, and it's all relative. I don't think it's right to put all people in one box. That's just not what life. It's not black and white, there's prismatic. Life is just all different colors. I don't think it's right to say like men are bad, women are good, or vice versa. Like, everybody is who they are, and we have to like assess that in real time, relatively, when it's I don't know. Like, I don't think it's right to just judge people like as a whole.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. And then I'm raising a young Black man. I don't think that I don't want him to ever feel like he needs to be a certain way or does need to be a certain way. I want him to honor himself and be honest with who he is, still respecting people, but respecting himself as well and knowing his power and still being, you know, the best person he can be without disrespecting anybody else to be that.
Tell me somebody that you think, that you admire everything about this person.
Okay, I know it's going to sound super cliche, but I'm going to say Beyonce because...
Oh my God, yeah, that is cliche.
It is. But here's
I'm so tired of girls with fucking
I'm
Beyonce.
I'm going to tell you why, because I had identity...
You know she's just an image, right?
Here's the thing. Let me tell you why specifically I do really... She helped me in life. So her, I have others, but her, first of all, because... Nobody understood what being like from in America, like not America, in California, being like from a different culture. It's a melting pot here. But I was like bringing red beans and rice and like greens to like culture day. They're like, "What are you?" I'm like, "I'm Creole." They're like, "What the fuck is that?" I'm like, until she came out like talking about what that was, that helped my identity issues. Would help me.
Beyonce's Creole.
She is, yeah. So it helped me to be more proud of my culture. I was like always trying to hide it or like just be like, oh no, I'm just Black. They're like, but what else? And like having to explain, okay, well, I have like a branch of this, it's this and this, whatever. But I didn't have to explain it as much anymore. I felt like somebody else was like, I don't know, like bigger than, like not bigger than me, but like they could, okay, that's the same culture I'm from. I didn't have to explain it as much. And it felt like it was easier to tell people more about my background because I'm like, okay, you know who she is and like her background, then it's easier for you to understand who I am in my background. That's the reason. I'm not going to say Beyonce because all the other things, but that specific thing helped me to be more empowered with my culture and my background. So that was a big thing. Like identity things are big when you want to assimilate when you're younger and not be like sticking out. So
when I posed that question, if someone posed that question to me, I would say most likely I would probably say like Malcolm X because, and I would give a rundown of like the way he like specific details, like the way he walked, the way he carried himself, the way he talked, the way he was able to capture people's minds with words. The way he led grown men, the way he was respected in the community, the things he did for his people, like all that shit make me admire this man from top to bottom. So when I pose to use that question, you're the person you say is Beyonce.
I had identity issues, and that was a big part of a big block for me growing up, and that did help me to like shatter that.
I mean, that's a good. I mean, I can't tell you how to answer.
Also,
but I mean,
James Baldwin.
That's surprising.
One of my heroes. You know. Like I said, it would sound cliche, but for my reasons, that is what I had identity issues as fuck. Like when you're being like,
because do we really know Beyonce? Do we really know anything about Beyonce? She is literally
anything about anybody.
She's
honestly,
really.
They're all like people we don't really. Who? Yeah.
When is the last time you seen Beyonce like spaz out or like she's an image, she's like this perfect,
she keeps her shit private. I respect that.
Yeah, but that's so fake.
Person too.
That's so fake to me. She's an image.
I mean fake or private.
I want to say private. She's like the most famous person in the world. She can't be private.
She could. We all like tell people what we're comfortable with them knowing. It's curated, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I do think that,
being private's not bad. I think it's protecting who you are, like your most like authentic self. Like she's an image. She's this, she's that, but she's a little person.
Yeah.
But I do, I have other ones. I feel like that was when you said that, like that's what came up to me at the moment. So I have a lot of people that I like. So yeah. I don't know. There's so many answers. I mean, I could say my parents. I could say James Baldwin.
You can go with Beyonce. That's what
Huey P. Newton. I could say
your initial thought is what you actually think.
That was a big hurdle that I needed. Like I didn't even know I needed help to get through. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, tell the people where they can find you. Like if you want to give out your socials,
yes,
emails or whatever thing. And then also tell, I think we covered this already, but just tell people like what's going on with you currently with your art and all that other shit. What you're working on. Yes.
So you can find me on Instagram. It's Sydney like Australia with 2 E's at the end. So SYDNEYEE. And it's like ye, like, because, Oakland, But right now, like I said, I'm working on a film. I am working on curating a new event that I hope to be hosting at the Oakland Art Lab, which is where the old Beast Mode store was on Broadway. And just, I'm having some personal things I'm dealing with that I'm making sure that that's in a priority in my life as well. But yeah, just making sure I'm staying in the arts and in the community and just, being of service to my community and my tribe. But those are just a couple things I'm doing right now, but I'm always down to collab. I'm always down to do more things and to connect with new people and to see what we can create together. I'm totally down for all of that. Like hit me up for any creative things. And I'd love to talk to anybody who would like to have any information. If they have information for me, I'm always a student to life. So yeah, I'm a teacher as well. So I'm both. And I keep those things both very like up high in my life. Like I don't know everything. I do know a lot of things and I'm willing to share and I'm still like willing to learn. So yeah, anything, if you guys want to, we can organize paint days, any spoken word things. I'm down for it all. Honestly, if it has art in it, count me in.
All right. Well, Sydney, I would like to thank you for coming on Everyday Celebrity Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It's a great chat. Good getting to know you. And everyone, follow her on Instagram. Reach out to her. All you creators out there. She is a dope woman. Very powerful. Very intelligent. Very beautiful.
Thank you.
But most importantly, intelligent. I think that intelligence outweighs the beauty
I think that's super important.
And the beauty is up there. So
especially in this society.
Any last words?
I just want to thank you for having me, and I appreciate being able to share. And this is really cool. I appreciate that you're doing this for the community and artists, and I want to thank you for holding space for artists and any topics that people want to talk about with me. If it has to do with art, please hit me up and listen to Everyday Celebrity Podcast for cool people.
Yes.
The more you know.
And we are out.
Bye.